Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt shakes hands with a young Lyndon B. Johnson, while Texas Governor James Allred stands between them in Galveston, Texas, on May 12, 1937. Welsh spiritualist Colin Evans feigns levitation by jumping up and down in total darkness and filming himself with an infrared camera. Photo taken in London, 1939. Barber and Beauty Shop, Bedrock City, RTS 64 and 180, Valle, Arizona, 1987. Civil rights activists, freedom riders are beaten up by a mob after attempting a sit-in, Birmingham, Alabama, 14th of May, 1961. Soviet officers examining the German tank Panzer Kampfwagen, V. Panther, July 1943. The Emden, legendary German raider in the First World War, just after her final defeat and surrender on November 9, 1914. Captured Viet Cong soldier, tied and blindfolded in a stress position at Thuong Duc Camp during the Vietnam War, 1967. Raphael Lemkin, right, with Ambassador Amado of Brazil, left, before a plenary session of the General Assembly at which the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide was approved. Palais de Chaillot, Paris, December 11, 1948. A Red Army doctor examined survivors of Auschwitz after Soviet troops liberated the camp in January 1945. Circa early 1920s, a cheerful crowd of women enjoying the beach, their joy a testament to post-war liberation and early feminism. 1963. A nurse holds a sick child during the smallpox epidemic. A haunting image of care and courage in the face of a devastating outbreak. 1941. Jean Tierney stars in Sundown. Her beauty and grace unforgettable against the backdrop of wartime drama. 1928. Josephine Dunn and Nye Edwards perform in a now-lost silent film, their chemistry frozen in a mysterious fading frame. Silent film actress Doris Dawson in a photograph by Edwin Bauer Hesser, circa 1928. Unfortunately, she didn't transition well to sound movies because critics said she had a grating voice. August 1945. After B-29 raids, Japan's Marifu rail yards lie in ruins, marking the last days of a devastating war. New York. Miss Henrietta Miele giving an iron ring to a contributor, October 22, 1914. During World War I, German Americans started program Gold für Eisen, where donors traded their gold wedding rings for iron ones, which was used to fund the German war effort. Ira Hayes, a Native American Marine immortalized raising the American flag over Iwo Jima, sits in a Los Angeles jail cell, 1953. Crippling PTSD and unwanted fame saw Hayes arrested 52 times for public intoxication after the war. He froze to death in the Arizona desert while drunk in 1955. Herero in chains. During the colonial period in German Southwest Africa, now Namibia, the Germans brutally suppressed the indigenous population. At least 60% Herero and 50% Nama population were killed in the Herero and Nama genocide, 1904-08. Unusual and rare photograph of Winston Churchill feeding his pet white kangaroo, Digger, the only albino kangaroo in Europe, at London Zoo, Regent's Park, 1948. Captured Jews during Warsaw Ghetto uprising led by the Germans for deportation to death camps. Picture taken at Noah Lippi Street, near the intersection with Smocha. A protester shows the blood-stained shirt of Edson Luiz de Lima Souto, one of the first students to be killed by the Brazilian military dictatorship, March 28, 1968. A terrible sight. Children dressed in rags were forced to work in non-safe environments, their innocent young faces reddened from a workday that seemed to never end, and the abolishment of child labor was unfortunately decades away. The coronation of the Emperor of the Central African Republic, Bokassa. It consumed a third of the car's budget, and among the dishes served was the meat of his political opponents. Jackie Robinson, a baseball hero for the Brooklyn Dodgers, sits with his wife Rachel on the front steps of their house in 1949, holding his baby son Jackie Jr. on his lap. Nina Lean took the picture. February 1938. Sudeten Germans greet Hitler before the annexation history moments before the storm. 1974. Marcus Wayne Chanel Jr. commits an unthinkable act, murdering Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother in a church. Adolf Hitler hand-feeds deer, a chilling contrast between cruelty and pastoral calm. 1963 inventor Hugo Gernsback unveils his TV eyeglasses, the future worn on your face. Italian immigrants arriving at the port of Santos, São Paulo, Brazil in 1907. The 1980s on Miami Beach, not everyone liked the bikini, a snapshot of clashing cultures and changing times. 1897. Lady telephone operator cabinet photo at the primitive and early switchboard in Chillicothe, Missouri. April 3, 1945. A U.S. soldier poses with the Holy Roman Empire crown inside a Sagan cave, spoils of war and echoes of empire. Dolores Costello in Glad Rag Doll. 1929, a silent film siren in a world about to find its voice. Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. A girl lays flowers at the base of a memorial stone at Champaign Park, Michigan, in Allen Park on May 30, 1959. The Detroit News Archives. Lorraine Hansberry, David Cogan, Lloyd Richards, Philip Rose, and Sidney Poitier from the original 1959 Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun. An ethnic Albanian demonstrator gasps for breath after he was beaten by riot police, while a policeman, C, runs through tear gas during clashes in the center of Pristina, March 2, 1998. In 1969, when Black Americans were still prevented from swimming alongside whites, Mr. Rogers decided to invite Officer Clemens to join him and cool his feet in a pool. Japanese soldiers fighting in the First Sino-Japanese War, 1894. Roy Bryant, Wright, and J.W. Milam during their time in the trial for the kidnapping and death of Emmett Till, 1955. They were acquitted, and 1 year later, under double jeopardy protection, admitted to having do it with details. Unusual and rare photograph of Winston Churchill feeding his pet white kangaroo, Digger, the only albino kangaroo in Europe, at London Zoo, Regent's Park, 1948. In 1952, Jacques Léonard moved from Paris to Montjuic, a steep hill overlooking Barcelona's port. He fell in love, not just with the Romani people that lived there, but with one gitana, the Spanish term for a Romani woman, in particular. Terrified actress Sophia Loren hides inside her car as fans mob her and one cracks her mirror, all while she was at the Rome to San Remo Cinema Car Rally, 9th of April, 1956. Before she was Dorothy on The Golden Girls, Bea Arthur joined the U.S. Marine Corps Women's Reserve during World War II. She served for 2 years as a driver and dispatcher in North Carolina and had only one blemish on her record: contracting a venereal disease that left her incapacitated for a month in 1944. An old man falls to the ground, caught up in the middle of a street fight between the rockers and mods. Hastings, England, 1964. Photo from 1976 shows coal miner Jess Bishop breathing his last while his miner sons keep watch. He was an unfortunate victim of black lung disease. Cowshoes, 1924. Cowshoes used by moonshiners during the Prohibition era to hide their footprints, June 18, 1924. Last photo of Tsar Nicholas II, 1917. Believed to be the final photograph of Nicholas II of Russia. It shows him at Tsarskoye Selo as guards watch on after his abdication. Taken at some point after March in 1917. The Titanic in the docks of Southampton, 1912. The RMS Titanic passenger liner in Southampton, England, just before it left for its maiden voyage to New York City on April 10, 1912. The Titanic sank after striking an iceberg in the early hours on the 15th of April, in which an estimated 1,500 died of the 2,200 passengers and crew on board.